Hi. I've been asked to do this thought for the day because apparently it's my birthday coming up and I'm not going to be here. But I'm on the road. I'm leaving tomorrow for Vermont and then Atlanta and then Canada, going to Rome to do a wedding and then to Houston. So I'm going to be gone for the next 12 days. So they asked me to do this thought for the day on my birthday. I don't know why. I mean, it's an important landmark because you don't turn 100 years old every day. So maybe not. That's not it. No. So anyway, here's my thought. So yesterday, a pope was named, and he was from Chicago. His name is Bob, and he was a missionary for 20 years, and I think this altered his heart. And I think he's the real deal. And in his remarks yesterday, he talked about how we need to, build bridges. And bridges exist to connect one piece of land to another piece of land, isolated pieces of land, land where people are excluded or discarded or demonized or left out. And this is what you do for a living here at Homeboy Industries for the last 37 years. You build bridges for the whole world to see that bridge building is viable and possible. I remember once I was walking to my car and I saw a homie from the bakery who was having a frajo and taking a break. And I said, "How was your weekend?" It was a Monday. He goes, "Horrible. My car conked out on me and I was in the middle of no damn where." So what could I do? I called my homies, and one after another kept saying no, that they couldn't come. One guy said, "I'm at my suegra's house and she's going to give me a mean ass mascara if I leave." And one excuse after another. He said he called four. And then he said, "You're not going to believe what I did next. I called Rafa." And as soon as he said Rafa, I said, "Oh, really?" Because Rafa was his worst enemy. He used to shoot at him and they shot at each other. Worst enemy rival gang. And I said, "Well, what did Rafa say?" And he takes a long drag on his frajo and he says, "And this is what my rival, my worst enemy in the world, said to me. He said, 'I'm on my way.'" And somehow, we're called to and challenged to build bridges so that there is no us and them, just us. And this is what you do for a living. Here at Homeboy Industries, it's what you represent. Many years ago, there was a homie named Youngster who I took to Homeboy Silkscreen. I thought he was ready to work. I introduced him to his coworkers. Half of them are rivals, enemies. He shakes their hand. He looks them in the eye. I think to myself, great. Until he gets to this guy named Puppet. And when Puppet and Youngster are in each other's vicinity, they mumble something. They stare at their shoes. They don't shake hands. Well, I know they're enemies, but he just shook hands with a whole bunch of enemies. Well, I find out later that this is a hatred that's really quite deep, beyond which neither of them think they can get past. And I said, "Look, if you can't hang working with each other, let me know now. I got a bunch of people who want this job." And they didn't say a word. 6 months later, Puppet leaves his home to go to a corner store not far from his house, and he purchases something. But on the way home, he decides to take a shortcut, and he dodges into an alley. And suddenly, unexpectedly, he's surrounded by 10 members of a rival gang, 10 against 1, and they beat him badly. Someone finds his body, takes him to White Memorial Hospital, where he's declared effectively brain dead. But they keep him alive on machines for 48 hours so they can get a straight, flat line indicating that there is no brain activity. I went and I anointed him, and I've seen a lot of horrible things in my life, but nothing to compare to the sight of this young man with his head swollen many times its size. It was horrifying. You could barely train your eyes on him. So that first night, in the first 24 hours while he was in the hospital, I'm alone in my office. It's 8 o'clock at night. And the phone rings, and it's youngster, Puppet's co-worker from the silkscreen factory. And he says, "Hey, that's messed up about what happened to Puppet." I said, "Yeah, it is." And then with a certain kind of eagerness, he says, "Is there anything I can do? Can I give him my blood?" And we both fall silent under the weight of it, until finally he breaks the silence, choking back his tears. And he says with great deliberation, "He was not my enemy. He was my friend. We worked together." Now, I ask you, does that always happen at Homeboy Industries? Always. Any exceptions? I can't think of one. And you can't think of one. And that's because you're bridge builders. And that's about the only thing we need to do right now in our country and in our world and in this city that we love, is build bridges and connect people in kinship who live over here and some live over here, so that we can no longer feel ourselves demonized, discarded, excluded, and forgotten, but members of one belonging, cherishing community. So, you are my happy birthday gift, so thank you for all that you do.